is proudly brought to you by
In this edition, electoral roll not updated for LLG elections. Police to save 54 million kina in hire cars, and WR Carpenters strengthen partnership with PNG RFL. Governor General Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai in his Easter message has encouraged citizens to reflect on the true significance of Easter, the sacrifice and resurrection of Jesus Christ. He said faith must be shown through action, not just words, and called on Papua New Guineans to live by Christian values such as honesty, respect, kindness, and hard work. Acknowledging current challenges like high living costs and unemployment, he urged people not to resort to crime or violence. Electoral Commissioner Simon Sinai says PNG is not prepared for the LLG elections as the electoral rolls have not been updated. However, the Electoral Commission will go ahead to issue writs next week, both for the Motu Koita Assembly and the LLG elections, and will use the 2022 electoral roll. He says PNG will still face the same issues every election year, unless the electoral roll is updated.
The Motu Koita elections, as well as the local level government elections, will run as scheduled next week. However, Electoral Commissioner Simon Sinai mentioned that PNG will not have a smooth-sailing election unless electoral roll issues are sorted. He said this during the signing ceremony of an MOU between Motu Koita Assembly, NCDC, and the Electoral Commission yesterday.
The electoral roll is a prevailing issue. Electoral roll is not just a roll, it's a name and identity of a person in a council ward. 14 council wards. And I wish if we can identify all of those people in those council wards, by age, by group, by clan, and by tribe, and by ward. And then it's what you call an open electorate. So we are looking at that kind of perception in terms of data. Now, unfortunately, we are not given the essential time that we can go about doing this and satisfactorily do it, so we are happy about preparing and ready for elections.
Sinai called on citizens to consider these facts and not to blame anyone for election-related issues.
Whoever is watching on the TV and media, who are we going to blame if we are not going to prepare ourselves for the election? Are we going to blame the city manager and me, or are we going to blame the chairman of the Motu Koita or president of the LNG? Yes, to some extent, yes, we are responsible as government agencies. I am, managing elections. The others, they're, making policies. But as people, we have to know where our identity is, where I belong to which ward, which clan.
Sinai said his aim is for every citizen to practice their right and vote with proper identification.
As the commissioner, I want to see all of you to get ready to cast a vote. City manager, we have done practical changes to the role. We are advocating face to the name, which is called another technical terminology you might want to call biometric, but not biometric voting. It's a biometric identity. So face to the name is, we already have the role, and we have gone to Tatana December last year. We have gone to Kupiano Station, Ward 5 in Tatana. We have done trial on a face to the name, biometric data, photo roll.
His suggestion of face identification biometric database is not a solution to election issues, but a deterring factor as it comes back to database.
These are things that we need to sort out in preparation for the elections. I said this is the right time to do that towards 2027.
Jasmine Irajak, TVWAN News.
In a serious call for action, Warabung LLG President Moses Gigmay is calling for a 2 to 3 month deferral of the upcoming local level government elections, urging the government to release overdue village service grants before polling begins.
In the heart of Eastern Highlands Province, the president of Warabung local level government, Moses Gigmay, is speaking out, calling on national leaders to defer the scheduled council elections by at least 2 to 3 months. He has questioned on how they can go into elections when their village service grants, the third and fourth payments for 2024 and the first for 2025, have not been released. He said they had outstanding debts to contractors who serve their communities.
Mipla allergies. Good play election and normal. Sa kam len mipla amas, mipla ogra presidents play challenge mipla amas. But one of the problem that mipla got lili problems mipla got here emulsion. All deaths blo mipla lo allergies blo mipla since last year. First quarter, second quarter mipla kisim lo VSD or allergy grants blo mipla. Na third na fourth quarter mipla lo kisim. Ina ikam na now lo disla account lo mipla tu inoho na disla first quarter blo mipla allergy grants tu mipla no kisim. Olay mipla operate logistics or allergies blo mipla ka dina wante molsta. Dina ino minimum service no dina blo mipla but dina all man renting service ya. All talk lo pay blo all talk lo service or providing lo nga. Na disla mipla no obsedium na mipla go sim. Planti by mipla ikisim bagra.
The Warabung president isn't alone. He speaks on behalf of 23 other LLG presidents in Eastern Highlands and leaders across the country who share similar frustrations. Their appeal is now directed at the National Government, Electoral Commission and the Minister for Provincial and LLG Affairs, Soroy Yoe, urging them to defer the elections and release the funds.
Government, national government, and provincial government will should look sour display every mipla allergies. Because you play man mandated you play go stop low. Mipla trambo mipla stop close to true one time more people blow mipla. Now every problem blow all people blow mipla and only mister. Election and no more let's come mipla over one bell. But this law all issues that's only and keep more problem. Also inside the country, over the provinces only get this lively. But I'm only have to talk so. Me also me put him place clear. This la lili tintin that's only me put him law tintin blow Mr. So hero lo emas in 2 weeks minister one time electoral commissioner.
For many rural communities, the village service grant is their lifeline, bringing basic services that improve livelihoods. Delays not only halt development but also erode public trust in government processes. If the grants remain unpaid, local leaders warn that elections could be undermined by a lack of resources and community support. The call is clear: no grants, no elections. Carol Kidu Jr., TVWAN News.
The National Court in Waigani yesterday ruled in favor of Motu Koita Assembly following an application to restrain its operations. The court also dismissed the plaintiff's application to restrain the Motu Koita Assembly chairman from holding office.
Around 1:30 p.m. yesterday, the National Court in Waigani handed down its decision regarding an application for restraining orders to restrain the operations of the Motu Koita Assembly, among other orders. The application also asked the court to issue restraining orders against current Motu Koita Assembly chairman and his assembly members for holding office. This too was dismissed by the court. The plaintiffs in the matter are Veata Patana, Edward Collett, and Russell Simon Wavik, among others. The court found that the plaintiffs had no arguable case, stating that the Motu Koita Assembly Act has clear provisions to allow for members to remain in office until the return of the writ of the next general elections. The court made the following remarks regarding the question of whether the plaintiffs have an arguable case. Contrary to what the plaintiffs claim to be a violation of their rights under Section 50, there is a strong defense by the second defendant that no serious issue has been established in these proceedings because Section 112 of the MKA Act applies in a case where, regardless of the expiration of 5 years, elected members, including the chairman of the assembly, hold office until the date fixed for the return of the writs for the next general elections held after the election. After reviewing the evidence provided, Judge McHale stressed the need for continuity with MKA to avoid a vacuum and to protect the integrity of the due process until the next general elections are held. The court also ordered all the plaintiffs pay all of the Assembly and Daddy Toka Jr.'s legal bills. Jasmine Rajak, TVWAN News.
The World Bank has warned the government that despite strong economic data, social indicators remain weak and called for urgent attention to education, child health, electricity access, and job creation. The warning was delivered during a high-level economic briefing in Port Moresby, chaired by Prime Minister James Marape and attended by cabinet ministers, governors, members of parliament, development partners, and institutional heads recently.
According to the World Bank report, about 72% of grade 5 students cannot read and understand an age-appropriate text, and that PNG has the fourth highest child stunting rate in the world, with nearly half of all children affected. The report also indicated that only 20% of the population has access to electricity, the lowest among peer countries, and an average per capita income growth remains below 1% despite strong GDP expansion. World Bank Group Country Manager Wima Nara, when addressing the government recently in Port Moresby, says growth has not been inclusive. He said the real challenge now is to translate economic momentum into human development, ensuring better lives, better access to education, healthcare, infrastructure, and jobs. On the other hand, the World Bank praised Papua New Guinea's strong macroeconomic recovery and urged the government to urgently channel this momentum into improving human development outcomes across the country. Freddie Moe, TV1 News.
The Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary is continuing its program of replacing hire cars with government-owned vehicles, with 184 cars returned to hire companies over the past year. Commissioner of Police David Manning said these vehicles were returned when the constabulary began rolling out its vehicle refleeting program across the country. This will save the constabulary 54 million kina in hire car cost.
Police Commissioner David Manning, in a statement yesterday, stated that the police would now use hire cars only for operations where an upsurge in movement is required and for shorter periods. He said our PNGC procured 135 new vehicles for police commands across the nation in the past year that are now in use. Of the 45 vehicles delivered in recent weeks, 41 were allocated to the Special Services Division throughout the Highlands, Northern and Islands commands. The Commissioner said the vehicles purchased through the Special Police Assistance Program is a cost-effective break from the past and will save the constabulary millions of kina. The overall cost of the new vehicles is 31 million kina and will save an estimated 54 million kina in annual hire car costs. Manning said the objective is to have a dependable fleet of RPNG-owned vehicles before the 2027 national general elections. Noting that most of the police-owned vehicles were acquired 5 to 10 years ago, he said a good number of these vehicles need to be replaced and the constabulary will manage this over the coming years. He now challenged the policemen and women to properly manage the maintenance of these vehicles so they remain in service for a long time. Manning also reminded members of the constabulary of the consequences of misusing these vehicles. He said any police officer who breaks vehicle policies will be subject to strict disciplinary processes and dismissal from the force. Ruth Rongola, TV1 News.
This is TV1 News. Stay tuned for more stories after the break.
A true champion is measured by their courage, their determination, and their passion to never give up and to always keep trying. With a delicious Milo in milk taste and added nutrients, Milo in milk is a great way to fuel our little champions with nourishing energy every day. Because true champions give it their all.
Milo, PNG and Mia. Find PNG made.
Open nets.
Right across the nation, we eat snacks crackers. Emi trupla. All get a young plana lapun, only like him snacks crackers. Only make him here, no PNG, one time lay biscuit company. It's crunchy and tasty. It's irresistible.
Welcome back. The Center for Excellence in Financial Inclusion and the Western Pacific University have signed a landmark memorandum of understanding to jointly promote entrepreneurship, fintech, financial literacy, and microfinance education in Papua New Guinea. The Memorandum of Understanding between the Center for Excellence in Financial Inclusion and the Western Pacific University signifies a collaborative effort to advance education, particularly in the realms of entrepreneurship and microfinance, fostering mutual growth and development. The MOU outlines several areas of collaboration, including support for WPU with the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Hub programs, setup of the FinTech Hub with support from WPU, curriculum development and implementation, monitoring and evaluation of program impact, and industry linkages and stakeholder engagement. The MOU was officially signed on Friday, April 11, in Mount Hagen by CEFI's Acting Executive Director Peter Samuel and WPU President Dr. Janet Rango. This strategic partnership signifies a shared commitment to building human capacity, promoting innovation, and equipping students with practical skills to drive economic growth and financial empowerment across the country. Speaking at the signing ceremony, Peter Samuel expressed enthusiasm for the partnership. In response, Dr. Janet Rango highlighted the value of the partnership for student development, saying she hopes this collaboration will allow WPU to equip students with lifelong practical skills that will serve them and their communities long after graduation. The Conservation and Environment Protection Authority has commenced the Environment Impact Assessment for the upstream Papua LNG project and is now close to finalizing Section 55 of the Environment Act 2000 relating to public review and submission. Managing Director of SIPA, Jude Tukulia, assured that SIPA will work diligently to ensure that the legal requirements outlined in the Environment Act are adhered to without compromising the assessment process. The project has two separate developers, One of them, ExxonMobil PNG Antelope Limited, is responsible for developing the downstream of the project, while Total Energies EP PNG Limited, the upstream for which the assessment is now being conducted.
The EIS, and by going through the process, I am confident that we have fulfilled all the requirements in the Environment Act. And we have also hosted a couple of consultation meetings with stakeholders, including the landowners, and we have fulfilled all the requirements, and I am ready to deliver the environment permit to the proponent of the Papua LNG gas downstream.
All right. It's important to highlight that this process was well developed and consulted with the community. So there are several first times on the process. For example, the first time that SIPA led a roadshow re-engagement with the communities, and that was well recognized by the PNG Environment Council. So this is important to highlight because we, as ExxonMobil, we operate on behalf of Papua Project with the focus of protecting the environment as well as the community that we operate around. And that's been demonstrated for over 10 years that we're operating with PNG LNG here in country, and that's not going to be different on the Papua Project.
Coffee farmers in Nivi in the Ungai-Bena district of Eastern Highlands province are forced to shoulder heavy coffee bags and walk long distances to sell their produce. Chairman of the Nanekekanu Coffee Cooperative, Ayakiri Kelly, highlighted that local farmers face significant physical and economic challenges when it comes to coffee production.
While PNG looks forward to celebrating its 50th independence anniversary, most of its rural farmers continue to struggle in an area devoid of government services, especially poor infrastructure, no market accessibility, lack of financial support, and a significant neglect in education and healthcare services. The people of Nivi in Ungai-Bena district of Eastern Highlands province are no different. Chairman of the Nanekanu Coffee Cooperative Society, Ayakiri Kelly, highlighted their plight after receiving their registration certificate from the Coffee Industry Corporation on Monday, April 14th.
Mi bakside berisla mountaineer. Mi pla road blame no right. Road condition blame hot. So time mi pla about the go town. Coffee mi pla sakari morse. Coffee mi pla kari mi pla sakari nar pla kain. All mama mi pla sarausi degree 10 kilo na bot na give him. Now papa mi pla sakari 40 kilos or 35 kilos. Mi pla sakari na go down low. Mouse low road. Na time carry me come, me put coffee and black carry go. Carry no come, me plaza sleep, and then waiting car no come na pam blago. So lo place go lo town em distance em low through. Osem so me bla stop inside me bla stop lo hat la lai. Na life me bla stop em no right lo me bla stop lo ven but em place where big man em losing plus on plaza stop.
Coffee Industry Corporation's project manager of the PNG Agriculture Commercialization Diversification Project, Potaisa Hombunaka, argued that policymakers in Port Moresby ignore the realities of rural farmers.
Okay. This is a real challenge of agriculture and rural development. We sit in our cool offices in towns and cities holding conferences and talking about growing the coffee industry and cocoa industry and cattle industry and the whole lot. But first of all, let's get our infrastructures done first. If our government, both at national and provincial level, can get the roads done, that is the #1 impediment to the growth of the agricultural sector in country. At the time we came, the road was okay when we came, but rain and things have taken its toll. So it's really constructing good Department of Works standard roads with proper line drains. That will hold the road forever.
And it's important for coffee. I said it's important for coffee.
It's very, very important for coffee, for cocoa, for coconut, for livestock, whatever agriculture sector you want to grow. We cannot grow any of these agriculture industries without heavily investing in rural infrastructure development. Thank you.
Ungai Bena's terrain has been described as breathtaking but equally challenging for the local populace who need access to government services. The area produces 1,000 to 4,050 kilogram bags of coffee annually. Additionally, 85% of coffee is grown by smallholder coffee growers in the Highlands region. Kamela Guare, TVWAN News.
And now to the finance news. The kina closed lower at $0.2456 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was buying $0.2381 US dollars, $0.3732 Australian dollars, $0.2029 euro, and 33.67 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, and copper closed higher. Cocoa, palm oil, and crude oil closed lower, and copper closed the day unchanged. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, ASX closed lower, and all ordinaries closed lower as well. You're watching TV1 News. We'll have news overseas when we come back. Stay with us.
Hiya, Mama. You wait then, but me add him special flavor.
Put in more flavor, put in more taste. Magical cuddle, get up and big smile on face. Time for Kim chicken, a great kumutu. Sip, sip, the moo, yes, magic on you.
Maggi, the taste PNG loves.
Jackpot is rolling over week on week. 750,000 kina. Get your tickets now. Draws every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Play now at 321lotto.com.pg or any of your 321 authorized retailer. 321. Win big every day.
Help stop the spread of germs and protect your loved ones with Protex. Here are some simple hand washing tips. Use soap or liquid hand wash. Vigorously scrub hands in circular motion. Scrub in between fingers and nails. Do not forget the back of the palm and around the wrist. Rinse with clean running water. Dry hands with a clean paper towel or cloth. Protex. Clean hands, good health.
Thanks for staying with us. As Easter approaches, Port Moresby residents are being offered more than just celebrations. They're being given a chance to prioritize their health. A team of Chinese medical experts in partnership with Eliseo Supermarket has launched a special public health campaign aimed at providing free medical checkups and traditional treatments right in the heart of the community.
The campaign titled Revive Life, Health Together is currently underway and continues into this weekend. The first health outreach took place at Eliseo Makana Supermarket on April 14th, with the second scheduled for April 20th at the Rainbow Supermarket. The goal, to make Easter a meaningful moment for families to reflect on their health and access services they may not otherwise afford. Chinese medical specialists from various fields, including pediatrics, traditional medicine, and breast surgery, have brought advanced equipment like portable ultrasounds and acupuncture tools to deliver accurate diagnosis and traditional care methods. A structured appointment system using color-coded cards ensures orderly access. Red cards indicate breast exams, yellow for traditional medicine, and green for pediatric screenings, each distributed in timed intervals. Beyond diagnosis and treatment, Eliseo is supporting long-term health awareness. In-store screens play educational videos on common illnesses, and customers receive pharmacy discounts with a medical card. Residents can also join a WhatsApp health community for ongoing guidance. With free screening, wellness education, and even basic health supplies handed out on site, this initiative is changing how healthcare reaches everyday people. The final event at Rainbow Supermarket promises even more support as Easter weekend unfolds. This Easter, health and hope are going hand in hand. As the second phase of the campaign kicks off this Saturday, Port Moresby residents are reminded that healing starts at home and sometimes even at the supermarket. Carol Kido Jr., TV1 News.
Papua New Guinea has faced ongoing challenges in health, nutrition and development, leading to persistent malnutrition that impacts infants, children, women and men at all stages of life. Last week, World Vision Papua New Guinea signed a sub-grant agreement with the Department for Religion and Community Development. This agreement bolsters World Vision's ongoing efforts to combat malnutrition and address the underlying causes of poverty and inequality as part of their health and nutrition portfolio. This collaborative effort represents a significant leap towards tackling malnutrition and fostering a healthier future for children and families in PNG. For his analysis on the reports that Moscow has requested to base an aircraft in Indonesia. However, Indonesia officials have assured Australia that Russian aircraft will not be based in Papua.
It's not surprising to see Jakarta move quickly to nip this story in the bud. Indonesia has long prized its foreign policy independence and typically avoids doing anything that risks antagonising the larger powers. We still don't know exactly what was or wasn't brought up by Russia. Diplomatic sources say even if this wasn't raised directly with the defence minister in Indonesia, it could well have been brought up by more junior players. Either way, allowing Russia to base surveillance aircraft and potentially long-range bombers in Indonesia, where it would be easier for them to monitor and potentially even hit US and Australian military assets, seems to have been a red line which Jakarta does not want to cross.
A new report says it has never been more difficult to obtain home insurance in Australia after a series of natural disasters in recent years. The Climate Council report says 80 suburbs across Australia are now deemed critical risk zones and has urged authorities to work with insurance companies to find the answers.
As Vicky and Jeff Woodhouse survey the block where their family home once stood, they think back in amazement to the scale of the floods that hit Shepparton in 2022.
We did not think that the house would be inundated with water to the extent that it was.
They were initially told by their insurance company they'd need to rebuild their property like for like, but they knew that would leave them unable to insure the new house.
To me, logically, why would you refit our home at the current floor level, which is setting me up to flood again?
Shepparton is the most at-risk suburb in Australia, with almost 90% of its properties considered uninsurable.
What we do in Shepparton, how we solve this, can be a blueprint for how we're going to solve this in hundreds of suburbs around Australia. But if we don't solve it, it will also be a blueprint of what demise looks like.
Climate risk analysis shows more than 80 suburbs around Australia are now critical risk zones, where more than 80% of properties are considered to be at high risk of climate-related damage. Getting insurance in Shepparton is now almost impossible.
We're seeing $30,000 a year increases, which is completely unrealistic.
But without it, there's no access to mortgage funds through the banks, a vicious cycle that's leaving residents high and dry, and the local council outraged.
They're not willing to engage with those community members because it doesn't allow them to generate more revenue.
But experts say blaming the insurance companies doesn't solve the problem.
Forcing the insurers to do things which are commercial suicide is not a solution.
They want insurers, banks and the government to work together to future-proof flood-prone communities.
If we are faced with flood events like we've experienced in 22, it'll be those same 700, 800, 900 houses that will be impacted again. We want to make sure that they can build back better.
Vicky and Jeff Woodhouse eventually negotiated a financial settlement and relocated.
We decided that it was all too much to build a new home and it was time to move on.
Drastic measures for a growing problem.
The Education Minister has sacked the entire board of the Victorian Curriculum and Assessment Authority following the 2024 exam debacle. A total of 65 VCE exams were compromised with questions leaked online before students sat the test. The government has accepted all the recommendations from a review into the blunders, but it will take more than a year to fully implement them.
VCE graduate Caitlin Nguyen is forging ahead with a double degree at Monash University after all 5 of her exams were compromised last year.
I do remember feeling quite worried because I was unsure about what was going to happen.
The Education Minister is still dealing with the fallout after 65 exams were affected, today announcing the first results of a major review.
The status quo of the VCAA will no longer cut it.
The Minister says he's accepted all 8 recommendations, which include disbanding the entire VCAA board and installing an interim board, the appointment of a new chief executive, a collection of backup exams in case of errors, and the removal of cover sheets from student access.
This was an unmitigated, unauthorised process that was undertaken, and that has led to where we are today. So there will be no exam cover sheets going forward.
The review found the cover sheet error followed production delays, which caused staff to fall behind.
It concertinaed at that point, and as a result, something was done that shouldn't have been done.
Some of the uploaded covers contained transparent text, which could be viewed when pasted into a text editor. The last 3 years of the VCE have seen errors, and while the government says it wants students to have full confidence in the process, the lead reviewer says human error will always be a factor.
The likelihood of issues this year are as diminished as they could possibly be.
It wasn't the first time, it wasn't the second, it was the third time it happened in this state. The review should have been done after the first, so we didn't have the third occasion of students missing out on the opportunities and facing the extra stress during their exams.
But Caitlin is satisfied to put the debacle behind her.
I believe they've learnt their lesson.
The second stage of the review is expected to be released later this year.
Before we go back home, the Daytech Learning Centres in Port Moresby celebrated its 14th graduation ceremony today at the Sir John Guise Stadium. About 255 students graduated from 6 ICT programs.
The 255 students graduated in Information Technology, Server and Network Administration, Data Analysis and Business Intelligence, and Cybersecurity. According to Daytech General Manager Ravi Chandra, DLC's objective is to deliver high-quality programs that address the 1,400 skill gaps in the industry. To date, Over 1,200 students have graduated from their programs, with 60 to 70% of them successfully securing employment.
It has been so encouraging to witness how you have grown in confidence, faith, knowledge, and understanding during the last 2 years.
Chandra said the institution plans to focus more on AI programs in the coming year, as they anticipated that these skills will be in high demand both locally and globally in the near future, and encouraged students to use AI where they can.
You have moved from a world with the given challenges. You are to embrace another one with the specific challenges. Besides, you have just made a step. Do not forget that these are all other levels.
UT Vice Chancellor Dr. Hora Rinagi encouraged the students to avoid copying what AI gives to them, but to understand the concept of AI and implement it in their own understanding.
Get AI to help you learn. AI is very good for learning, not very good for copying. No. I mark you wrong and I will fail you if you copy AI. If you ask AI, what is this? And AI will say, oh, this is that. Then you write it in your own words.
Dr. Rinagi also challenged the graduates to use their knowledge to contribute to the development of PNG using skills and tactics of innovation.
But we have technology, we have science, we have ICT, we have everything. And our villages must be improving their standards of living as well. So I challenge the graduates as well. If you don't find a job, that's fine. Use your technology to work how we can contribute to community development.
Tracy Pa, TV1 News.
And that ends the news segment. Next in sports, Tuna sets new record and the Under-15 Boys Development Tournament.
The PNG LNG project has now generated more than 30 billion kina for Papua New Guinea since production commenced. Nearly half of this amount has been paid as tax. Equity distributions are paid to KPHL and MRDC based on the interest they hold. Tax is paid to the IRC, while development levies and royalties are paid to DPE. For more information on direct and indirect benefits, visit PNG EITI's website.
Meet the bank for everyone, everywhere. As People's Microbank, we were proud to be a bank for the people. Now as National Banking Corporation, we are bringing modern banking to all in Papua New Guinea. With more branches and our friendly staff ready to assist you in more places, we are making money matters simple and fair. So wherever you are, however you say it, say hello better banking. Learn more at nbcpng.com.pg.
Tell him shorty come get it in. Come grind on me, but met it in. Mommy get loose, get loose, get loose. Pepsi in my hand, ice cold, no excuse. I tell him who's gonna bring that groove.
Welcome back. In sports, preparations for athletics PNG team for the upcoming Pacific Mini Games in Palau is progressing well following the announcement of its 30 selected athletes. Under the leadership of head coach Brett Green, the athletes based in Papua New Guinea are in training at the National Sports Institute in Goroka.
Mike Smith has taken over the role as assistant coach after the passing of Samu Sesama, who has a strong background in athletics development. Smith now focusing on the sprint events. He noted that the training camp has yielded good results with 8 athletes, including those from the athletics development program, striving to secure a place in the final squad for the mini games. While training has been going well, a few athletes are managing minor injuries and undergoing rehabilitation with the team physio.
Maybe 7 or 8 athletes, they're here for the camp. I think our ADP, some of our ADP athletes are also in the camp, like Joy, Tieba, maybe Damien and Mary Kate. They need to run some time or throw some good distance to be selected. So I think training is good. Up here, training is good and athletes are doing well.
Smith highlighted that most of the athletes are already national competitors, with 2 having debuted in the 2022 Pacific Games from the development program. He expressed hope for the inclusion of 1 more athlete based on individual performances. Since the start of the camp, the commitment and attitude displayed by the athletes has been commendable.
All athletes who are here are national athletes. Some has joined, 2 of our ADP has joined in the 2023 Pacific Games, and then I think we are also hoping that we can include 1 more for the ADP, but that depends on the athlete.
In the sprints, the focus is on the 100-meter events, and there are expectations of contributions from the US-based athletes who will join the team. Smith expressed confidence in the athletes in both the 100-meter and the 4x4 relays. For the field events, the team is looking to Damien Kote and Lagona Gerega in the throws, alongside Caro Iga, the current gold medalist in the multi-events.
We have some athletes who are out in US and Australia will join us, but I think we will get a very good competition in the 100 meters and the relays.
Several competitive meets are scheduled leading up to the Games, starting during the Easter weekend on April 18 and 19 at the NSI, followed by the major trials in Port Moresby about a week or 2 before the team's departure for the mini games. Terry Longwood, TVWAN Sports.
Joy Tieba is a budding young female athlete who's striving to represent the country in this year's Pacific Mini Games in Palau. Joy, whose part is New Britain, and Oro is a third-year student on scholarship under the Athletics Development Program at the National Sports Institute in Goroka. Joy is embracing the challenge so far, juggling sports training and her studies.
Joy briefly reflects back on where her interest in athletics started. She was doing her 7th grade when school carnivals were being held. As she continued to take part in carnivals, her interest continued to grow as well.
This is my 3rd year in the program. They help us to, from competitions, when they see that we have talent, raw talent, they help to develop our talent. So they bring us to stay under a scholarship where we go through training and at the same time attend schools.
Joy said it was her head coach, late Samu Sesama, who saw her potential and got her into the ADP program. Some of Joy's highlights so far include attending the Oceania Athletics.
Yeah, I was in 7th grade when I started. I wasn't much of an interest for me. When they said that, there was going to be a carnival at the end, I said, I'm going to try run. So I started competing in carnivals. So when I started, I was good at it. I was like, this is something good I could take up. So yeah, I started attending most of the carnivals here. And then when our late head coach saw the potential I had, he then got me into the program.
Joy's next focus and biggest challenge is the Pacific Mini Games in Palau in June this year. She said training started as early as mid-February, and although challenging, she's committed to it physically, mentally, and spiritually, and happy with her progress so far.
Myself mentally and physically training on that track, both to juggle, like I said in the program, studies and training at the same time. So for me so far it's going good, and I'm hoping to keep it up until the games. So for me, I'd like to really run some new PBs, just to continuously break my own time down. If it means that it's possible if I can break a national record, but I'd have to train hard for that to happen.
Joy extended her gratitude to the National Sports Institute for giving her the opportunity to be part of the program, especially Director Janet Gimmott and coaching staff Philip Numane and Subul Babo, and fellow athletes for being great companions at training. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
Two PNG junior tennis players, Pauline Hayun and Kolita Hakena, have joined the tennis juniors in the region at the International Tennis Federation World Tour Juniors in Lautoka, Fiji. Both featured in their respective games today. Kolita secured herself a spot in the semi-finals in the singles game after getting a win over New Zealand junior Charlize Cashmore. She is poised to meet Jennifer Mott of Australia, who had also come off a strong win. It was an unfortunate finish for fellow PNG junior Hayun, who couldn't go past the group stage after losing her game to Matilda Daniel from Australia 0-6 and 3-6. She will be showing up again in the doubles. The ITF World Tennis Tour Juniors is a global circuit of tennis tournaments for players under the age of 18 organized by the International Tennis Federation. It provides junior players with a platform to compete internationally, gain experience, and develop their skills before progressing to the professional level. WR Carpenters Group of Companies has continued its support to PNG Rugby Football League today by donating 2 brand new D40 Nissan Navaras, 20 HP laptops, and 2 high-end printers, and a maintenance account for the upkeep of these consumables. This support will enhance the work of PNG RFL as they work hand in hand with WR Carpenters to develop the sport in the country and make a positive impact in the society. Tigers star Jerome Luai has had his say on the club's Lachlan Galvin saga in the wake of the young gun being dropped by Benji Marshall, and the experienced playmaker has been praised for being unashamedly himself. But another post from recent recruit Sunia Turuva, which was intended for close friends before leaking, is even more cutting about Galvin's looming exit.
It's a full house at McDonald Jones Stadium. It is a glorious day, and this is Sunday footy at its finest.
Tigers marquee off-season recruit Jerome Luai took to Instagram sharing an image that read "Team First" after it emerged he and teammate Ati Coruscant approached Marshall following the contract bombshell to air their concerns. According to NRL 360 host Andrew Webster, Luai and other members of the Tigers leadership group approached Marshall on Tuesday morning and said they didn't want to play with Galvin.
In a game where so many players are too scared to be themselves, he's unashamedly himself. He was one of the members of the leadership group that went to Benji Marshall this morning and said, we don't want Lachlan Galvin in this team. And Jerome's, he's done it before. He's done it after Origins. He says what he thinks on social media, and that's just another way of him saying that we're not going to put up with Lachlan Galvin deciding not to play with us.
He knows. NRL 360 host Brave Anasta also weighed in believing there was no subtlety about Luai's social media posts.
4 premierships in a row, comes to the club, shows great leadership, has made an immediate impact, and he's just pretty much said, if you don't want to be a part of this team, see you later.
In an extraordinary development, Webster revealed Marshall, along with club CEO Shane Richardson, were going to name Galvin in the team before the senior players stepped in.
I just find it so weird at the time when the club's on this sort of trajectory. Like, why now? Why have you decided that this is the place to be?
Because it's obvious that
Are we hanging Lockie out when we shouldn't be hanging Lockie?
On Tuesday, Galvin was dumped to New South Wales Cup and will be replaced by Luai at 5'8", with Adam Dewey named at halfback. The development comes after the Tigers released a statement on Monday announcing that Galvin would be leaving the club at the end of 2026 when his contract expires. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
That's all for sports. We now move on to the weather. Southern, Port Moresby, Kerama and Popondetta, cloudy periods with rain showers and possible thunderstorms. Momase, all centers, cloudy with rain showers and possible thunderstorms. New Guinea Islands, Lorengau and Buka, cloudy periods with rain showers and possible thunderstorms. Kimbe, rain periods and possible thunderstorms. Highlands, all centers, cloudy periods with rain showers and possible thunderstorms. Coral Sea, seas moderate to rough with southeast to southwest winds of 20 to 25 knots. Solomon Sea, seas slight to moderate with westerly to northwest winds of 10 to 20 knots with gusts over the northwest and southeast sectors. Bismarck Seas, seas slight with northeast to northwest winds of 10 to 15 knots. Pacific Ocean, seas moderate to patches rough with northeast winds of 15 to 25 knots. Waters of New Ireland to East New Britain to Bougainville, seas 1 to 2.5 meters. And waters of West New Britain, seas 1 to 2.5 meters. That ends the news tonight. Thanks for your company. Bye for now.
The TVWAN News was proudly brought to you by Do you want